Jack Wilshere sat in the big futsal hall at George's Park this week and made it very clear how much he wanted to stay at Arsenal. Wilshere is something of a throwback, committed to Arsenal, desperate to stay at the club, become captain one day and see out his career at the Emirates. Sadly, Arsenal's attitude towards contract negotiations would suggest that the feeling is not entirely mutual. Arsenal have offered him a new deal, a pay cut from £110.000 a week to £90.000 a week, loaded up with incentives for playing time, success and even on how many games completed. It is to cover themselves because of Wilshere's injury history, and that is understandable because he has had so many problems in the past. Wilshere is currently being left to contemplate a future away from Arsenal, Image PA, but he's adamant that he wants to stay, Image Action Images via Reuters. What is less understandable is Arsenal handing out a deal worth £350.000 a week to Mesut Ozil, a world-class talent, and yet that deal is skevet to other contracts being offered. To quite simply, if Arsenal allow Wilshere to go this summer, it will be a serious own goal, completely out of step with what the majority of fans want, and, ultimately, shouldn't their views be respected? Wilshere, 26, has a wonderful connection with the fans. They chanted his name even when he was out injured, when he was left on the bench, and now it is even louder because he is back playing. The story that Wilshere told some of my colleagues about being on the exercise bike last summer when Arsene Wenger effectively told him he could go because we would not offer him a new deal was incredible. Basically, it was a message loud and clear: get on your bike, son. Well, he was on a bike already, but only an exercise bike. And Wilshere decided he was going nowhere. Wilshere had little hope of remaining last summer, Image OFP Getty. Most players would have caved in. Wilshere had interest from Swansea and Newcastle. Aston Villa, despite being in the Championship, offered him a big deal, and it must have been tempting to go. But by the end of the summer, Wilshere had fought hard enough to convince Wenger he was worth keeping in the squad, even if it was just to play the odd game in the Europa League. Wenger did not think he would come back to a good enough level. Wilshere remained and was only part of the Europa League side in the early season, Image Getty. Eventually, Wilshere worked his way back into Premier League action, Image Reuters. Wilshere played against second-rate opposition in Europe, and Wenger still did not give him a chance in the Premier League. It still looked as if Wilshere, who has always dreamed of playing for England, might have to leave in January to get game time to play in the World Cup. Gareth Southgate, quite rightly, kept saying if he is not playing for Arsenal, then no way can he play for England. But just before Christmas, Wilshere forced his way back in, and his brilliant attitude only strengthened the fans' respect for him. At a time when Arsenal yet accused of lacking characters and leaders, no wonder the supporters love Wilshere. Furthermore, Wilshere is a brilliant talent, can do something different from the rest, and has a wonderful technique. Finally, Arsenal offered him a deal. Their new contracts expert Hus Fahmy spelled it out, and Wilshere, despite the initial offer, thought they'd work it out because he wants to stay and has told them that. Wilshere has played himself back into Arsenal's first-choice side, Image Reuters. Wilshere is now crucial to Arsenal's Europa League charge, Image Reuters, but it has since become clear that they are not budging an inch. And the worry must be that if Arsenal are offering a deal with a pay cut, is it because they are still not quite sure whether they want to keep him or not? There's no point in staying if Wenger, in his heart of hearts, doesn't really think he can play every week. And that's what that deal is sounding like. Fahmy has a fine reputation from Team 7, but is quickly gaining one in football circles for driving hard deals at every end of the spectrum. Apart of course when it comes to Ozil. Arsenal's contracts chief, Hus Fahmy, Image Getty Images Europe, both had deals to expire this summer, but their negotiations couldn't have been more different. Image Arsenal FC via Getty Images, but Arsenal could not have given Ozil so much if Alexis Sanchez had stayed, and they could not afford to move for Johnny Evans, on £100.000 a week at West Brom, until they got Olivier Giroud off the books on the final day of the January window. Money is tight and will be tight again this summer at Arsenal. Missing out on the Champions League is a factor, and the club wants to rebuild the squad. Wilshere has been made clear of Arsenal's position, Image Action Images via Reuters. You cannot keep players on sentiment alone. So there's no point in saying just do it because the fans want it. But Wilshere is definitely good enough to play each week, has shown this season that there are no more problems with his fitness, and he is worth a new deal. The level of clubs watching, Everton, Juventus, AC Milan with Liverpool and Manchester City also keeping tabs, shows what a good player he is, but Wilshere wants to stay. On this occasion, sentiment doesn't and shouldn't come into it, but Arsenal must keep him or risk losing a big connection with the fans.